China. Let me begin with certain premises. It could be argued, I think, that up until the mid-1600s, China was perhaps the most powerful country in the world. The most powerful. I'll try to explain why. Another premise. China has the longest continuing history of any nation in the world, going back at least 7,000 years. The Chinese name for China is Cochin. The translation, Middle Kingdom, meaning there's heaven, there's us Chinese, and there's the rest of the world. There's significance in this. It's an attitude, a definite attitude of superiority that the Chinese had with regard to the rest of the world. And we'll see how this comes into play, both positively and negatively. To speak of ancient China, all the way up through the year 1911, is to speak of dynasties, family rule. And the amount of dynasties in that history up to the formation of the Chinese Republic in 1911, a mere handful. In other words, and this is another basic premise, China was very slow to change. And the change from one dynastic rule to another happens rarely for a specific reason. To speak of classes in traditional China are to speak of two, basically. One, the numerical majority, the underclass, we might call the peasants. And the term refers to our own image of the peasantry throughout world history. The other class uses a name in China that we use in a somewhat different context. And that word is scholars, the scholar class. All that meant for the Chinese, traditionally, was the literate class. The literate class. And that would include the emperor and the court, the bureaucracy of the government, and the landowning class for whom the peasants worked. These are our two basic classes throughout most of Chinese history. As to the change of dynasty, here is what would happen, and here is why it remains such a rarity. For a dynasty to fall and to be replaced by another family, that existing dynasty had to lose the support of both the scholar class and the peasantry. If that existing dynasty lost the support of the scholars but kept the support of the peasants, it remained in power generally. If it lost the support of the peasants but kept the support of the scholarly class, it remained in power generally. If it lost the support of both, it would fall. And again, this happened rarely in this long, long Chinese history. An existing dynasty might last for hundreds of years before it was altered. Another basic premise of Chinese history, which also has very much to do with its attitude of superiority to the rest of the world, was its isolation from the rest of the world. With this sense of superiority, it saw itself as above the rest of the world, and given the extent of its civilization, as we'll talk about, it felt no need very often in its traditional history to have anything to do with those lessers who are out there. So we have this history of isolation. That isolation might be shown quite specifically, quite concretely, for example, in the Great Wall of China. This wall, built over the length of some 2,100 miles across much of the northern border of China, built with a great deal of...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?